Do you hear me? Now you hear me. Hello, hello. And welcome back to Trappscenen here on Gothenburg City Library. I'm Alexa Lamberg. I'm the conferencier here. And if you are following us through our live stream, you can ask questions even to this event here on Trappscenen by typing in the chat field of the live stream. The next... yes, previously we listened to RFSL Ungdom and Newcomers Youth, and they talked about the experience of young LGBTQ people seeking asylum. Now, Newcomers Youth will tell us about the unheard stories of LGBTQIA refugees in Sweden. And if you in the audience have any questions afterwards, you can just raise your hand and we will answer your question. And I just told you in the live stream what to do, so you do that. Okay, welcome back, Alexandra. Take it away and introduce our panel here.
Thank you so much, Alexa. Yes, Newcomers Youth have just released a magazine where our members have written their own stories with their own words. Now we will hear our interns at Newcomers Youth, Sandy, Evan and Sabbe, to read 3 of these stories. The magazine is available on our webpage and you can order it in a printed version as well. The articles are both in Swedish and in English. So with no further ado, I will give it to the scene to
Sandy.
Yeah. Okay. My name is Sandy, and I'm reading about surviving racism and homophobia in Sweden. We are going to send you all back to your fucking countries in Africa, you monkey. The Swedish man looked at me in anger. I escaped persecution and ended up facing racism and homophobia, and finally, my own internalized hate. It led me to the question, is there really a safe space for a queer person of color in this world? Question mark. I will never forget the 16th of August last year. I was walking in a park in Stockholm when a man approached me and started talking to me in Swedish. I told him I can only speak English. Then he continued in English. Are you not ashamed of yourself? Dressing up in those rainbow colors? We are going to send you all back to your fucking countries in Africa, you monkey. I was terrified and decided to leave the park. He followed me and continued talking in Swedish to me. People were just looking at him, and none of them said anything. I started to run while the tears started coming out of my eyes. Where were all the good people? My name is Equality, and I am a 23 years old gay youth from Sierra Leone. I was an activist for queer rights, both there and now in Sweden. I fled my home country due to persecution on the ground of my sexuality. I came to Sweden in 2016, seeking protection. Currently, I am a board member at RFSL Ungdom and a board member at RFSL Västernorrland. However, I am still perceived as an outcast, even in Swedish society, due to being gay and a person of color. Racism is dislike, based on a person's race rather than their beliefs or culture. This is at least my experience. Racism thrives on the idea of superiority. The racists believe that their own group is better than others. In Sweden today, politicians have taught Swedish citizens that they are superior to migrants, asylum seekers, people of color, LGBTQ people, and other minority groups. We are the one that needs to be integrated, educated, and thankful for all the little pieces we get. The system blames us when it's the system that fails us. For me, xenophobia is a fear or dislike of something different or unknown to a person. As a queer person of color from Sierra Leone, I feel often not accepted in Swedish society. The 5th of May, 2019, Sundsvall. I moved there full of hope of starting a new life and being myself. One of the neighbors approached me and asked, "How is it I live in this area since all other neighbors are Swedish people?" This sort of person is the reason why we subtly create the segregated housing areas here in Sweden. People simply feel free, safer living around other minorities from whom they at least don't get these types of comments. Summer 2018. I went to attend Uppsala Pride, fully dressed in my rainbow colors. At one point, a policeman approached me. He told me not to go toward another street because of a group of people protested against Pride. It was a right-wing white supremacist group in a country where I thought I could finally walk freely. Sometimes I internalized all this hate, and I started to hate myself. I am very scared every day due to my past trauma and the continuation of negative experience that I have here. Is there a safe space for a queer person of color in this world? Do the law written on paper really mean something? And how are they designed to protect our mental health from everyday racism, xenophobia, and homophobia that we experience? Sometimes I overthink this. It is sad to know that no person is born racist or homophobic, but society learned them to be. Not just in Sierra Leone, but also here in Sweden. My heart is wounded, and it grieves for a more tolerant and loving society. As an activist and a human being, I would never give up on this idea, regardless of how hard it is. And if this text of mine ever reaches you, and you are a white heterosexual person, rethink if it's worth diminishing another person's mental health for your political beliefs or ideology. Think about how you raise your kids, since you have the power to shape their future, thoughts and ideas. You have the power to save someone's life and mental health. As I said, tolerance and loving society. We can only do this together. Thank you.
We couldn't fit in because we were made different. Writer Kiki Adams. In Saudi Arabia, I had to hide and was constantly afraid. But racism and queerphobia exist both in Riyadh and Perstorp. Sweden brought an opportunity to finally date persons of the same sex. But coming here has also had an unexpected dynamic. A Wednesday afternoon in 1995, a male black Eritrean baby was born in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, by a divorced teenage mother. Just 2 days later, fresh from my mother's womb, I was labeled in a birth certificate and non-Saudi, belonging to a particular social group that was not supposed to be respected and didn't need equality, an othered and foreign group. Back then, I didn't know that until this day. I would stay the same, a black foreigner who doesn't belong anywhere. I was a black child who grew up in a poor neighborhood nearby downtown in Riyadh, often craving for family attention and father's figure that was absent. This child had a few things that they liked: a nail polisher, mom's clothes, makeup, and almost anything shiny and feminine. I remember my mom being afraid that too many women around me influenced me. I spoke like my grandmother, gesticulated like my aunt, and acted like their female friends. That was the reason why my elderly male cousins used to beat me up. No one could tolerate my femininity. The child laughed at me, mocked me, and I didn't have any friends. However, I didn't care because my grandmother was always there. One day, I walked in the street when a group of boys picked on me and yelled Dalua, brought in Arabic, but often meaning Sisi, in my face. They started to hit me, and my grandmother came from nowhere, screamed at them, and told them never to bother me again. Out of nowhere, these boys started to hit my grandmother. As a brave and strong woman she was, she fought back. I never felt so tiny and less of a man for not protecting either myself or her. Shortly after I avoiding going out and started to hide. I was just 7 years old. Every time I had to go to grocery store 20 meters away from my home, I was filled with an anxiety, stressing myself and panicking. I was ashamed of myself for a long time and tried to hide my authentic self as much as I could. I hide it because I wanted to be a man, one who conceals his feelings and doesn't express them. My trauma was deeper than the physical scars I used to get. I felt sorry that I didn't meet my mom's expectation after the terrible life that she had had. She had been forced to marry a man that was twice her age. In the end, she divorced him. But that wasn't the end of the circle. From that moment, shaming never stopped, both from her family and community. She blamed herself that day I admitted to her that I am attracted to men. She could always see that her son was sabotaged, ladylike in Tigrinya, Sabaykhon, she used to say. Be a man. Today I don't blame her. That was the only way she knew, the way she was taught, the way she thought was right. I knew I could not rely on her. That was why I didn't ask for her help when I got harassed and almost raped by a few of my relatives who would take a man's rape seriously anyway. After many years, she put my future in the first place. She told me to go to Sweden and apply for asylum. Slowly and gradually, I had begun to accept more and more both my femininity and sexuality. I realized that all these bullies didn't hate me, they hated my femininity or femininity overall. That was the moment when I thought I was finally stepping into freedom. Little did I know that this freedom was actually not free or unlimited. I waited for my residence permit for 2 years, and I moved to Stockholm. I was aware and proud of who I was, but I was still hiding my identity because I didn't want to put myself in danger. I lived with heterosexual people in migration housing. I was placed with almost 20 men in an accommodation facility. I felt afraid and insecure. I started to go to RFSL and learning more about homosexual and queer-related topics at the same time. After some time, the authorities moved me from Stockholm to Perstorp, a little town in the northwest of Skåne. I was surrounded by either conservative Swedish voters for Sverigedemokraterna or conservative Arab Muslims. I felt I still could not overcome the oppression that I felt in Saudi Arabia. It felt like I had never left Riyadh. Sweden brought an opportunity to finally date persons of the same sex, but it has had an unexpected dynamic. Even in a Swedish gay world, femininity is not desirable. It is something that makes other gay men refuse you, not just sexually and romantically, but also avoiding being associated with me in a social or friend-like way. No feminine, no Arabs, no fats is what I have read on people's dating profile, such as a Grindr, Scarf, Planet Romeo, or Hornet. And I am all of it. What hurt me also was the fact that many times when I wrote to someone, I got a reply that said, I didn't desire blacks. This is a man's world. This is a white world. This is a heterosexual world. And I am a fat, black, Muslim, queer, and bigender and feminine person in it. A person who is tired of patriarchy and heteronormative society. A person who is aware that there are people who suffer even to a greater extent from these evil forces. I am more privileged than a black transgender woman, but I still do not meet your beauty, race, or cisgender standards. Give us a smile and be kind to us if we ever meet. The children in us crave it. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sabbe, and I will be reading Integration of a Queer Afghan Youth in Sweden, Battle for Life Itself. This is the story of Nader Hayati. I had never felt as free as I did during the Pride Parade in 2017. But when I posted pictures from that day on social media, everything quickly turned into a painful reminder of my past. Here is my story on how it is like for a child, Afghan and queer, to come to Sweden, about the constant worry of being deported, the struggle to learn a new language, and how I have built a new life beyond fear and violence. If you are looking for warmth, you've come to the wrong country. The police were straightforward and clear. That was 5 years ago. I had fled Afghanistan and had arrived in Sweden. I had gone to a bicycle garage in Malmö to stay warm when several policemen suddenly appeared. In poor English, I tried to explain that it was cold outside and that it was raining and that the train station was closed. I had nowhere to go. The first words I learned were thank you and thank you so much. I promised myself that I would speak perfect Swedish within 6 months. I wanted to prove to myself and others that it was possible. After a few months, I realized how difficult it was, even though I had come quite a way by then. Even though I could not speak perfect Swedish, I was still the only person in the accommodation where I lived who did not need an interpreter. Furthermore, I was an interpreter for others who needed help. I realized that language was the key to making Swedish friends and finding a job, or in other words, establishing oneself in the society. But it turned out that there were other factors, such as social norms, which are crucial to succeed here. I can't describe in words how stressful it is to wait for a decision from the migration agency on whether one gets to stay and be safe in Sweden or not. For a while, I lived in a facility in Solna, Stockholm. One day the staff came to me and said that I had to pack my things and get ready to move to Arboga. The reason was that the accommodation in Solna was for people under 18 years of age. I was 17 years old. But the Swedish Migration Agency had nevertheless added a year to my age. I absolutely did not want to move from Stockholm, so I contacted a theater director who I had come to know and got to move into their home. After a while, I had to start looking for new housing again because the family I lived with wanted to sell their apartment. But the financial support I received from the migration agency was not enough for rent. During this time, there was a strike going on at Medborgarplatsen in central Stockholm during the deportations that took place after incorrect age assessments from the migration agency. I took part in the strike, but also took the opportunity to network and ask around for a new house. During the strike, people sometimes would come up to us asking why we were on a strike. At one point, I decided to start approaching some of the people and ask if there were any of them who would come help me with my home housing situation. I told them all about the strike and introduced myself. I got their contact info so we could meet up later. Today, these people have become some of the most important people in my life. They know what my struggle has been like and how grateful I am to be where I am now. It is difficult to describe in words what it means to be an Afghan youth in a new country like Sweden, but I will try by giving an example. The first time I was looking for a new address here, I almost panicked. My home country is far from being as digitalized as Sweden is. There you always ask someone for directions when you can't find somewhere. But in Sweden, I did not have internet on my phone, so I could not check the address there. Also, I did not know the language. I tried to ask people for directions, but no one stopped to help me. Afghanistan is a Muslim country where it is forbidden to be bisexual or to marry someone of the same sex. Even in Sweden, it has been difficult for me to tell others that I am bisexual. RFSL Ungdom was the first place where I could talk openly about my sexual orientation. It made me feel safe for the first time in my life. I was so happy when I, in 2017, participated in Pride. I had never felt so free. I took a lot of pictures and posted them on social media, but I got a lot of mean comments on my posts. I decided to delete the pictures because I couldn't bear to be reminded again of the trauma from what I experienced in Afghanistan. I am writing this article because I want to inspire others who have come here to Sweden to try to build a new life, beyond fear and violence. I have been through many difficult times in my life, and I will encounter more in the future. These setbacks do not matter much as long as I try to find a solution instead of giving up, which is why I want to tell you, do not give up, take that first step, learn the language, build a social network, and fight. That's it. Yes? Does anyone have any questions? We can unfortunately not answer any questions about the stories.
No, but thank you very much
Thank you.
for this. Yes, and just as you said, if there's any questions in the room, just raise your hand and we will, the panel will answer or Alexandra here will answer them.
Yes.
Or if you at home have any questions, just put your questions in the chat. But Alexandra, I actually have a question for you who works with Newcomers Youth. You've been here now for, you can come a little bit closer so they see you at home too. You have been here now for 2 sessions and I'm getting curious about your organization. How do you work with this particular group on RFSL Ungdom and Newcomers Youth?
So Newcomers Youth is a part of RFSL Ungdom, and we provide safe meeting places in Stockholm, Gothenburg, and Malmö, and Luleå. We are working with special methods where we try to take into account that we are working with children and youth. So we have a lot of methods to ensure the safety of our members and also like privacy. But we are working a lot with advocacy and we want to change the system because we realize that to provide like legal counseling, which we also do, and safe meeting places and separatist rooms, it doesn't change the reality. So we really want to work with the issue and also together. I mean, we in the staff, we want to be in the backseat of this cause. So in all aspects, we want to facilitate the members' voices being heard and them to be the drivers and actors of change. But we try to highlight the cause in as many different possible ways as possible. We are talking directly to people in power, like politicians and the migration agency and other like myndigheter, national agencies. But also to provide information to you guys, to everyone, to the general public, so that we also have allies in this cause, because we need it. The system has to change, because people are facing so unfair situations in Swedish society today.
And those stories we just heard about, are they representative for the group, the stories that you hear at the Newcomers?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there are worse examples, if you can say so, but we want to highlight the general case. So, because we wanted to show that this is the worst examples from both the like interview, like weird questions from case officers. Yeah, they happened, but the general case is also very bad. We cannot see in so many cases that this has been treated in a good way. In every case, there is something that has gone wrong, and we want to show that this is a general problem, not only like specific worst case scenarios.
And you mentioned some methods you are working with to make this group feel safe. Can you tell us a little bit about what kind of methods?
Yeah, so we have actually a method book that is available online, both digitally and in a printed version. I have one copy with me, I think, so if you're interested, you can come and look it through. There we have like a very detailed description if you want to start a meeting place together with us in your city, because for sure we need it in other cities as well, but we need people to do it. And there is how to start up a meeting place, and we also work a lot with leaders as role models. So the leaders that work with us are also LGBTQI persons, and often they have the experience of migration themselves. So we are trying to establish a safe space, and there are different ways of doing that. And they are described in the method book. So I really recommend. We have a lot of material on how to do it.
And where do you, if you're online searching for this material, what's the address?
Newcomersyouth.se.
Thank you very much, Alexandra. I'm a little bit curious about you guys as well. You work on Newcomers Youth as interns. How are your experience with the organization?
So before we started as interns, we were actually members, which is why I thought we could always also like talk a little bit about the meeting place and like this as from a member's point of view. But we can do that after this question. So we started out as members, and I don't know how Evan and Sandy got involved in this, but I really wanted to lead a session. I was very curious about. We were getting guests that I really, really wanted to meet, and I wanted to lead the session. And so Harris, one of our leaders, he suggested that I join the internship. Might as well do it. So I was like, I'm not working at the moment. I'm not studying. So I was like, nothing to lose. And it's been very awesome. Like we've been involved in we're involved in so many things. We worked on a music video.
Yeah.
We are working on a short film. That we're gonna be introducing, showing to the migration agency. We're gonna be like interviewing people. Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
We're working on that part with Alex.
Yeah, we're working on that part with Alex. So there's like a lot of different things that we get to do. We get to like suggest. We get to meet we're still involved in the meeting place as well, and we get to like sit and talk to our members, and they are like the people that we are going to be interviewing. I hope, if they're willing.
And we are here as a part of the internship also to be participating in the Pride.
Pride. We're involved in that. That's pretty awesome.
And we will be in Malmö Pride as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
And where can we see this music video? I instantly got very curious.
The music video, when is it going to be premiered?
It's going to have a premiere, like a sneak premiere on our Newcomers Youth party tomorrow. So if you're interested in that, you can... I don't know if it's in the program for West Pride, but you can look it up. There's available on social media, but also on Saturday night, the artist that is also a member of Newcomers Youth, who sings this song in the music video, will be performing on stage in Pride Park. So that's the big premiere for the song, and it's a hit song. And it's also based on the stories. Actually, the lyrics are based on the stories from the magazine. So
Okay, well, it sounds awesome. Thank you very much, guys. Are there any questions now in the room? Okay.
Yes. Can you hear me? Yeah. I was just wondering, your work, is it primarily volunteer-based, or do you also have employees? And how much time do you have to spend to get involved? Is it because I'm a student, so I don't have that much time, but I would like to get to know more about the opportunities that you do offer for people who is interested to get involved.
We are we are 3 people working in the project, employed, and then we also have leaders at the meeting places that also get paid. It's if you are interested in becoming a group leader for a meeting place, I suggest that you get in contact with us, email at our general email, or one of us or me, and we will get to it. But for sure, there's a possibility to be involved as a group leader, which is a regular responsibility. You have a meeting place every week, but we always need people to support our cause and spread our message. So in that way, helping us. So, but get in contact with us, and we will find a way.
Any more questions in the room, maybe? Or in the chat, Felicia? No. Okay, I think that was that then. Thank you very much. And I'm going to switch to Swedish now. Jag tänkte göra lite reklam både för er som tittar på livestreamen och till er här. Vi behöver till paraden en massa volontärer, för vi tror att det kommer att bli en stor och mäktig parad, så det kommer behövas många som volontärar där. Om ni vill anmäla er till det här, så gå in på West Prides hemsida och följ länkarna till hur man blir volontär, så fixar vi det helt enkelt. Tack så jättemycket för nu. Vi är tillbaka om en kvart igen. Följ oss då.